NBA fans? Welcome to the NBA Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and I want to welcome all of you guys in as we have a lot to break down on today's show. The latest around Zach LaVine. Where does he stand with the Chicago Bulls? Brandon Ingram, is a trade dead with him possibly leaving the New Orleans Pelicans? And then also, I wanted to give you guys my updated power rankings following the NBA draft and then following this recent cycle of free agency. But let's start off with this. Which NBA team improved the most this offseason? You guys give me your thoughts down below. Want to welcome in Ryan, Richard, Tanner, Cole, Ty, Adam, Wemby's Castle, No Cap. Welcome in, everybody. But what team do you guys think took the biggest jump from where the season ended to where we are right now? You guys let me know down below. Kerry saying the New York Knicks. John saying the Sixers and Spurs. Cameron saying the Mavericks. Christopher saying the Sixers. Cameron going the Knicks. Demetrius is going Boston. And then Christopher is going the 76ers as well. And then Javon Ward saying, what do you think about the Clippers move so far? Think they'll target anyone specific? Yeah, Clippers are in an interesting spot. Didn't really, do much this free agency period. Pretty weird how they handled it. Obviously them, not wanting to give Paul George that fourth year. I do understand that, but they kind of turned themselves in the second chance you. Like they're giving like Mo Bamba a second chance, like Kevin Porter a second chance. So, if I had to pick though what NBA team improved this offseason, I got to go the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like I think they were already a very complete team, but they got Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. I thought that was a big upgrade. And then what was the biggest reason they lost to the Dallas Mavericks in the second round? Rebounding. They were a couple of rebounds away, just a couple of poor decisions from, possibly being in the NBA Finals. Because if they matched up with the Timberwolves in the second round, I actually thought they would have won that series as well. So I'm going to have to go the Thunder as, wait for my power rankings because you guys will be very interested to see where I have them. Richard saying, go Chicago Bulls. I think the Bulls will tank this year. Richard, yeah, the next two big pieces for as if you guys don't know, I'm a diehard Chicago Bulls fan. Ryan Mott saying Bulls got a direction as well. I think the biggest question with the Bulls right now is, obviously I do think they're shifting towards this youth movement. They're shifting towards this rebuild. But, the question becomes is like, what do you do with LaVine? What do you do with Vooch? Because if they're both still on this roster next season, the Bulls aren't going to be bad enough to tank. Like, they're going to be good enough to win 30, 35, 40 games, at least. So, very interesting to see where the Bulls, will head from here. Is Spike saying Vooch got to go? Yeah, 100%. I go to bed every night hoping I'm going to wake up one morning and I get that push notification that Vooch is traded. But let's kick into this. If you guys had to predict it right now, who will win the NBA title this next season? And, we do have parity in the NBA right now with the having 6 straight different NBA champions. But you guys let me know, who do you think is going to win the NBA title next season? If I had to put money on it right now, I'm going to go with the Thunder. I just love their team. I love, SGA as that top option. I think Jalen Williams, even though he did struggle in that Dallas Mavericks series, I think him taking that next step is where I'm going to lean as a big reason why I do have to say the Thunder. But, hey, maybe if you guys disagree with me, you guys let me know down below. Christopher's got the Celtics repeating. Wemby's Castle going to Spurs. I mean, I'll tell you what, like the Spurs title bet for next season is not a bad one. If you just want to, bank on Wemby just taking a massive step forward, and let's just say he somehow is the best player in the world next year, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Somehow the Spurs, let's just say they start off the season, they're 10 games above 500. They swing big at the NBA trade deadline. I don't necessarily hate that, but John Garcia going to the Sixers, Cole going to OKC or the Timberwolves, and then the Reeves family going to the Lakers. Unfortunately, I think the Lakers, if they keep the same roster they had, or as it stands right now, I actually could see a scenario where it plays out where the Lakers don't even make the play-in. Like the Western Conference is stacked. Like the Grizzlies are going to be a powerhouse next year. It's I'm just very disappointed, and also with the Clippers coming in from Reen, I'm disappointed with both Los Angeles teams how they've handled this offseason. Spike and Ras saying Bulls should trade back for Jimmy. Am I right? No, you are wrong. As a Bulls fan, I do not want Jimmy Butler back on this team. But we had a couple people mention the Philadelphia 76ers. Top-end talent. The best big three in the NBA. Do you believe in the Philadelphia 76ers? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down below in the comments section. As we have over 200 people watching. That's freaking fantastic. Shout out to all of you guys. Appreciate you. Give you guys some nucks right there. That is awesome stuff. But you guys let me know. Do you believe in the Sixers? Bryant going N. Christopher going N. The Ruiz family going yes. Coastal Sporty going yes. Cameron going no. Wemby going no. Got a lot of no's coming in. Wemby's Castle saying these equal no. Yeah. So the Sixers are... All right, I'll play this hypothetical out. If they're fully healthy, like Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, those three are healthy for the entire playoff run. Do you believe in this ball club? I think the Sixers, obviously their biggest concern and their biggest red flag heading into the season is the injury concern. But also my biggest concern with Philadelphia, and I think the social media era we live in is a big contributor to this take. I think Paul George is extremely overrated. And the reason I think that is because, one, the contract he got. Clearly, I think he's overrated by, front offices. I don't think he should have gotten the 4-year, $200+ million deal from Philadelphia. But, the point I'm trying to make here is this social media era we live in. Like, Paul George has a very aesthetically pleasing game. Like, it's beautiful to watch. Like, we've seen the clips, slow-mo on social media. You have some jazz music in the background. It's just Paul George, all these sweet dribble moves. He's got such a sweet jump shot. But time after time again, we get to postseason time. We get to these big moments, and Paul George just kind of falls flat on his face. So I think injuries, the lack of playoff success by two of their top three options in Philadelphia and Embiid and Paul George, like, if I was in the chat right now, I'd probably be typing my N's for no's, but wait for my power rankings. It's going to come up here in about 30 minutes or so. We'll be breaking down all 30 teams in the NBA. Wait and see where I do have Philadelphia. Wemby's Castle saying facts. The Babbling Brook Studio saying, yes, Sixers can do it if all the cards play out perfectly. And yeah, so listen, I say all that. I say the red flags about, Paul George, the injuries, the whole nine, but they definitely do have a strong case to win the NBA title. Like, would I be shocked if Philly ends up hoisting the Larry O'Brien this time next summer? Not at all. That would not shock me whatsoever. It's just, like, if I had to go, like, percentages or, like, a pie chart of teams I think could win the title, like, I think Boston, you just got to give their nod as, give them the biggest piece of the pie. Next up, I'd probably go, like, OKC, Dallas, and then I actually do think the New York Knicks are a better team right now than the Philadelphia 76ers. You know what? Let me ask you guys this. Pick a team, Philadelphia or the New York Knicks. Who do you guys believe in more coming out of the Eastern Conference? EV typing in the chat saying, even though I'm a Bulls fan, Minnesota might be going all the way. I do love what Minnesota did this offseason. Getting that Rob Dillingham, just having that other creative guard, coming off the bench. But a lot of New York Knicks flowing in the chat right now. And you guys will see in my power rankings where I have the Knicks, where I have the Philadelphia 76ers. All of that will be answered here shortly. But, hey, if you guys have a question, if you guys want to get up on screen, use the hashtag NBA in your comment in the live chat. Or if you guys want to support us here at Chat Sports, super chatting is a great way to do so. I would really appreciate it if you guys could. But we have over 250 people watching right now. That's awesome. I really do appreciate you. As Spike saying, not basketball question. When will the Chicago Cubs go to the ALCS again? I'm assuming you're talking about NLCS. It's going to be a long time. Cubs are a joke. I'm actually a diehard Cubs fan as well, and it's been a very, very, very disappointing season for our Cubs. But yeah, use hashtag NBA. Get your question up on there. It will be popped up right up next to me. Your name, the whole nine will be there. But hey, also, if we get a ton of questions in there and you guys want to guarantee your spot on the mailbag, sending in a super chat. It's just a dollar icon at the bottom of the live chat. You guys send in a super chat and we'll get your question up on screen. But what's coming up on today's show? What's coming up on the program here? We got the latest trade rumors around Zach LaVine and Brandon Ingram. And then my power rankings. Didn't get too hot takey with my power rankings. Kept it pretty down the middle, but I do have some interesting plays, or I do have some teams in some interesting spots. So stay tuned for that. And then, yeah, like I said, about 40 minutes from now, we will have a mailbag. So hashtag NBA in the chat or super chat. As Sainty saying, Cubs almost had it, but Steve Bartman happened. Well, the Cubs won in 2016. Just want to say that. And then we'll cut off the NBA or MLB talk on today's show. But appreciate you guys getting those questions in there. But if you're ready to rock, dive into the trade rumors and let's talk about a little Zach LaVine and Brandon Ingram. Could the Los Angeles Lakers be trading for Zach LaVine? And then also, what's the latest with Brandon Ingram? Are the Pelicans trading him? Are they not? We'll dive into that on today's show. But welcome in the NBA now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. And before we dive into the Zach LaVine Los Angeles Lakers conversation, we picked up 31 subscribers on our last NBA Now video. I'm trying to beat that. So if you guys are new here, please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. If you guys could join our family here at Chat Sports and never miss a thing, never miss a beat around the NBA. But let's break it down. So the Lakers and Zach LaVine, I think if I had to predict my next move in the NBA, it would be the Lakers trading for Zach LaVine. And that's for a multitude of reasons, and we'll dive into that here in a second. But let's first off kick it to a quote from Casey Johnson, the most tapped in Bulls beat reporter. He works for NBC Sports Chicago. And, being a Bulls fan, it's pretty common knowledge. When Casey Johnson speaks, you have to listen. And this is what he said following the Sacramento Kings DeMar DeRozan sign and trade. He said they also will continue their efforts to trade Zach LaVine and now have 2 second-round picks to possibly attach as assets in that quest. Coincidentally, the Bulls and Kings held trade talks centered around LaVine before the DeRozan interest materialized. And this is common knowledge to Bulls fans, NBA fans. The Bulls are desperate to move off LaVine. They've been desperate since the last trade deadline. Why they did not do that deal then, I do not know. But, this has turned into almost a toxic situation with the Bulls. Clearly, LaVine, he's never came out and flat out said he doesn't want to be in Chicago. But with reports we've gotten from his agent, just from, the whole nine around this situation, it's pretty clear that both of these sides don't want to be there. So a trade could definitely be coming. And also more kind of fuel to this fire here is Rich Paul, Zach LaVine's agent, owner of Clutch Sports, said this: I want to make this clean and clear. This whole idea that Zach has been anything but professional in this situation is false. This guy has played hurt. He has represented the franchise with class. A lot has taken place during his time with the Bulls, and he's taken the high road every time. Does every player get frustrated at times? Yes. But Zach has been the ultimate professional and deserves better. This is getting toxic in Chicago. This is also following reports that the Bulls apparently weren't happy with the way Zach LaVine has handled this whole situation. And also Rich Paul and apparently Zach LaVine weren't happy with the trade destinations that the Bulls presented to Zach LaVine. Hey, here's a thought. Maybe you don't have a lot of options out there because of that contract. Him making $43+ million next year, kicks up to 46, then it gets to $49 million. Plus, he's got the 15% trade kicker. It's truly one of the worst contracts in the NBA. But let's tie this back into the Lakers here. And Zach LaVine, I think, I say all this to say this. I also do think he's almost become underrated. People think he is just a complete negative asset, that he has no positives out there on the basketball court. I mean, if you just take away this past season when he only played in a 25-game sample size, due to the injury, this was a guy averaging 24+ points on incredible efficiency over the past 3 seasons. And also in that 2020 year, when the Bulls were at top of the Eastern Conference before Lonzo Ball went down due to the injury, he was averaging 27.5 points a game, 5 assists, on 51% from the field and 42% from downtown. So how could the Lakers get this done? Well, this is a trade idea we cooked up here, and it was the Bulls receiving D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, and Gabe Vincent, and then the 2 second-round picks that the Bulls did get from the Kings, attach that on to Zach LaVine, and send that to Los Angeles. Now, if you're a Bulls fan watching this video, you're probably saying, why the hell would the Bulls want D'Angelo Russell? I understand that. The Bulls, in this situation, I could see this being very similar to the Drew Holiday trade this past season. When the Milwaukee Bucks traded Drew Holiday to the Portland Trail Blazers for Damian Lillard, they didn't have a need for him. What did they do? They rerouted Drew Holiday to the Boston Celtics for Malcolm Brogdon and multiple first-round picks. I could see the Bulls doing the same thing with D'Angelo Russell here. But, hey, you guys let me know who wins this trade. Or if you're a Bulls or Lakers fan, just let me know if you guys would do it. Give me a CHI for the Bulls or give me an LAL down in the comment section. Curious to see what you guys have to say. All right, so another big trade piece and trade target that's been out there is Brandon Ingram. As you know, I think it's almost guaranteed that he was going to get dealt if you would have asked me this a couple weeks ago, but it's been very quiet since. So this was coming in from Ryan Phillips, pretty tapped in with New Orleans. He said this. He said, for weeks, rumors have persisted that the New Orleans Pelicans were looking to unload the forward and his $36 million expiring contract prior to the 2024 NBA draft. Reports swirled the former All-Star would soon be on the move. That never came to pass, and now, with free agency winding down and most rosters fairly set, New Orleans is reportedly running out of trade partners. Now, this is incredibly interesting because the New Orleans Pelicans, following that DeJounte Murray trade, I immediately thought that he was going to be on his way out of New Orleans. And this is a guy, 6'10", pretty sneaky, underrated playmaker, averaging over 5.5 assists over the past 3 seasons. You can see over the tops of the defense. He's phenomenal at generating open shots for his teammates. And he also can get to the bucket at a very high level, has a decent enough jump shot where, it's a threat to opposing defenses. And, Ingram obviously did have his postseason struggles this past season against Oklahoma City Thunder, but the Pelicans were kind of a mess. And plus, they just lost Zion heading into that series. And, he had Lou Dort, putting him in a chamber that whole time. But also, William Galore of The Athletic did write up this piece about Ingram. He said, without an Ingram trade, the Pelicans would have to find some middle ground with their forward on an extension. There's some optimism within the building that the two sides could come to terms on a deal that makes each happy. I don't understand why the Pelicans would do this. I think the Pelicans need to move on from Ingram. And, it's an old cliche of you got too many cooks in the kitchen. And there's only one basketball out there. I'll never forget James Harden when he was talking about, his Rockets back in the day going up against, one of the best teams of all time, those Warriors. We had KD, Steph, Clay, Draymond. And he said, hey, there's only one basketball. I could use that argument for the Pelicans right now. And plus with, how, each player on the Pelicans likes to operate offensively, like DeJounte Murray needs the ball in his hands. CJ McCollum needs the ball in his hands. I think Zion Williamson is at his best when he's running that point guard spot where he's running that point forward and he needs the ball in his hands. And like everything we just said about Ingram, he's going to need the ball to be at his best out there on the basketball court. So I'm not sure what the Pelicans are going to do here. I would be desperately trying to trade him if I were them, but where could he go? I got 4 teams. And again, I actually agree with the report we got. The destinations are really slimming out here from Ingram, but these are the 4 teams I came up with. The Houston Rockets, the Miami Heat, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the Heat have been looking for that third star for a while to pair up next to Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, so maybe they go all in on Ingram for just 1 season, and they view him as that piece to get them over the top. What about the San Antonio Spurs? I have been very confident that I could see the Spurs going all in on a guy this year just to take advantage of Wemby still on his rookie contract and maybe try to steal a championship when Wemby is still, within his first 4 years in the NBA. So maybe they get desperate at the trade deadline or right before the season starts and swing big on Ingram because, hey, it's also just an expiring deal. Like, if it doesn't work out, he's off the books, for the years following that. But also the Houston Rockets and the Lakers, the Western Conference is stacked. You're going to need some top-end talent to compete. So, maybe those two try to get involved. But you guys predicted for me. Rumors were hot originally around Ingram getting traded. now they've completely stalled out. So you guys let me know. Will the Pelicans trade Brandon Ingram? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down in the comments section. As always, guys, make sure you guys are subscribed here to Chat Sports on YouTube. Really appreciate the support on our channel as of lately. So, excuse me. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys next time. As I was about to say, as always, go Bulls. That was just habit from me hosting our Bulls channel. But you guys have a good day, and we'll see you guys next time. All righty, you guys let me know. Will the Pelicans trade Brandon Ingram? We got the Ruiz family saying yes. Jace saying yes. Leaderboard Sports saying no. Premier FN saying yes. Matt Carmody saying yes. I mean, I just think it makes too much sense. I don't think the Pelicans, they don't need Ingram. I think they would be at their best if they're, and I probably should have made this point in the video of Trey Murphy, Herb Jones. You want those guys coming off the bench, or do you guys want those, or do you want those two wings in the starting lineup developing? I just think Ingram would really hinder that. Antoine Crosby saying Pels need a center. Yeah, 100%. That's the thing with the Pelicans right now. It's right now they have Yves Missi starting at the 5 spot. They did sign Daniel Tice, so I like that move just a little bit. I don't know what center could be involved. Maybe they try to trade Ingram for a center. That's something. Maybe the Portland Trailblazers, that was the team that just came to the top of my head, where maybe they want to go get DeAndre Ayton. They send Ingram there, and then it's Ingram averages 25 during the regular season or whatever it may be for Portland, and then they trade him at the trade deadline. Antoine saying Ingram for Vooch kind of makes sense. It does if the Bulls were closer to competing, but I think the Bulls are really pivoting to, tanking, because also keep this in mind, whenever you're talking about a Bulls trade, their first-round pick next season is technically they still have it, but if it does not land in the top 10, it actually heads over to San Antonio, and that would be a disaster for the Bulls and this front office. They would be in absolute shambles. J-Dog saying Lakers get Brook Lopez. Not sure about that. I think you would have to give up a first, and I think the Lakers would be trying to swing a little bigger than that. But Young City saying we're not trading BI. We would try to trade CJ. I actually wouldn't hate that idea for the Pelicans. Maybe move off McCollum instead of BI, and then you have your big three of Murray, Zion, and Ingram for the foreseeable future. But, we'll see. Troy saying Ingram to Shaw for Williams and Richards and another player. Don't hate that at all either for New Orleans. But we will have a mailbag coming up here in about 25 minutes or so. So how do you get on the mailbag? If you guys put a comment in the live chat and use hashtag NBA, it will pull right to our software. Or if you guys want to cut the line, we already had a ton of questions come in. You guys can super chat. It supports the show, keeps the lights on here at Chat Sports. And plus, you get your question on the screen right away. Right away, no hesitations. It gets on there for the mailbag. So if you guys want to ask a question about your favorite team, I'll give you guys my thoughts on it and break it down. Hashtag NBA, and that will get the job done. Theo 3&D saying seems like the Bulls have been rumored to trade Zach LaVine since they traded Jimmy Butler for him. Yeah, I mean, his name's been tossed around in the latest NBA trade rumors for the longest time. The longest time. Murphy saying LaVine to the Sixers, they just can't afford that contract. There's no feasible way that deal gets done. Ingram for Brook Lopez for Wendell Carter. Maybe the Bucks. I don't know how that cap would work out because $36 million is a lot to take on for Milwaukee considering what they're playing Giannis, Dame, and Middleton already. Interesting thought, though. John Garcia saying Brook Lopez to the Spurs. Don't hate that at all. But we are going to be diving into my power rankings here. So if I disrespect your team, if I give your team maybe too much love, you guys let me know in the comments section. We'll chop it up here after we dive into it. But text if you're ready to go. We'll dive into the power rankings right now. Shout out to Caleb, the Babbling Brook. Don't hate that idea either, Babbling, at all. Murphy Brown in the chat. Shout out to you. The Reese family saying, do you think Zach LaVine and Torrey Craig will go to the Lakers? That's not a bad trade package. Plus, I think the Bulls would probably attach on 2 second-round picks to that. Lakers would need to ship out Rui and D'Lo just to help contracts end up matching. Bulls are 100% tanking to get a chance at the high schooler that balled out. Yeah, Cooper Flagg. I'll tell you what, Cooper Flagg's going to be the real deal, man. We're calling the tank capture the flag. Who's going to capture the flag this season and really start tanking, for him? We'll see. We'll see. But let's dive into some power rankings. We'll get into that right now. We are diving into our power rankings on today's edition of NBA Now by Chat Sports, following the NBA draft, following free agency. I just wanted to go through all 30 teams and see where they all stack up against each other. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in. But I want to ask you guys this first. Which NBA team do you think improved the most this offseason? From where the season ended to where we are right now. What NBA team what NBA team improved the most? You guys let me know down in the comments section. Coming in at number 30 here, I think this one's fairly obvious. The Brooklyn Nets. After their 2 trades they made this offseason, them moving Bridges to the New York Knicks, getting 5 first-round picks, and then them sending the Suns pick to the Houston Rockets to get their own pick back, I think it is clear they don't want to win games. That's the biggest reason why they are at number 30. But how about the Detroit Pistons? Maybe I got them too low here, considering the moves of Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway. Like, you got some veterans in there that will help contribute to winning. But again, it's the Pistons. This was one of the worst teams in the NBA this past season. I just think they're going to be at the bottom of the NBA once again. But the Washington Wizards, I've actually liked what they did this offseason. I like the pick of Alex Sarr, and also I like that you got Jonas Valanciunas next to him. I think it's going to help his development a whole lot. But again, they're going to be trying to get Cooper Flagg, hopefully in the next year's NBA draft. Then we kick it to Portland here, another team that is going to be, in the Cooper Flagg sweepstakes. I love Scoot Henderson. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's going to develop really nicely, but, Portland is still a couple of years away. Well, let's kick it to my Chicago Bulls here. I got them coming in at 26. And listen, they got some talent on that roster, but, I think a Nikola Vucevic, Zach LaVine trade is almost imminent at this point. So I could see them, really trying to, mail this season in and just hopefully land, one of these top players in a stacked 2025 NBA draft class. But let's kick it to the Charlotte Hornets here. I'm actually a fan of their starting 5. Like, I like LaMelo. I like Brandon Miller. I like Mark Williams. I think they're, obviously they're not going to be competing, in the Eastern Conference or probably even competing for a playoff spot. But I think they're going to be able to, somehow scrap together like 30, 32 wins here. So I got the Charlotte Hornets at 25. Now, my team at 24, they were tough to judge for the main reason that we don't know what they're doing with Lauri Markkanen just yet. But if they do end up trading Lauri, they might drop down to 29 for me and be right above the Brooklyn Nets, as I think Danny Ainge, he's looking at Cooper Flagg, and he's probably thinking, I got to do whatever I can to get myself, hopefully a solid lottery ticket in next year's draft. But I got the Atlanta Hawks coming in here at number 23. Obviously, with them trading DeJounte Murray, that was a big part of their offseason. You still got Trae Young. He's a tremendous basketball player. Love Jalen Johnson. I think he's one of the best 3-and-D guys in the entire NBA, but I just don't think they have enough talent to, compete in the Eastern Conference. Now, the Toronto Raptors are coming in at 22. I think the Toronto Raptors have set themselves up to be the 22nd best team in the NBA for the next 5 seasons. I've absolutely hated what they've done this offseason. I mean, you pay Scotty Barnes and Emmanuel Quickley a whole lot of money, and, you're really banking on a big 3 of R.J. Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and Scotty Barnes to carry you for the next couple of seasons. I think they're going to be living in the NBA purgatory for the next couple of years, and they're going to be the kings of the play-in tournament in the Eastern Conference for at least the next 3 to 4 seasons. Now, I got the Golden State Warriors here at 21. I actually liked some of their moves this offseason, and if they go out and trade for Lauri Markkanen, they're going to be flying up these power rankings. But as it stands right now, I got them at 21. Maybe it's a little too low. Maybe I'm not giving enough respect to just the Warriors culture and Draymond Green and Steph Curry, but you lose Klay Thompson, you're really banking on a huge jump from Jonathan Kuminga, so that's why I got them here at 21. No, a team I really like, and I think they're heading in a great direction. The Houston Rockets. Like, you just look at the roster top to bottom, like Jabari Smith, Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Şengün. Like, they got a bunch of dogs over there in Houston. And also, I love the draft pick of Reed Shepherd. So I think they're going to be a feisty team this upcoming year. Obviously, they acquired the Phoenix Suns picks this offseason in hopes to trade for Devin Booker or Kevin Durant if either of those two would become available. So I think the Rockets are a feisty team at 20. But 19, I honestly think I may have the Lakers too high. The Lakers had a terrible offseason. What they did, they hired J.J. Redick, and they drafted Bronny James. They're running it back with the same exact team that they had last season, and they weren't too good. So I think the Lakers, I think they had a bad year, and plus LeBron is just a year older. So where did they get better? I can't see it. I like the draft pick of Dalton Connect as well, but I just think the Lakers are just it is a family-run business at this point, and it's truly a poorly ran NBA franchise. But number 18, how about the San Antonio Spurs? And I'm a Spurs believer. I think Wemby, he is going to be an undisputed top 10 player in the world next season. I love the draft pick of Stephon Castle. I love the pickup of Chris Paul. Love the pickup of Harrison Barnes. And this was a team last season when Wemby took that jump in the second half of the year. They were playing 500 basketball, and that was with a bunch of G Leaguers around him. Now you add Chris Paul. Hopefully Devin Vassell takes a jump. Hopefully Castle is an immediate impact type of guy. I think the Spurs, maybe I got them too low here. I think they are a borderline playoff team, and I could even see them winning a playoff series if Wemby just takes a ridiculous leap this upcoming season. But number 17 for me, I got the Clippers. Very similar thoughts I have on them. With the Lakers, they just didn't really do much. You obviously lost Paul George. You're hoping that Kawhi Leonard and James Harden are enough to carry that offensive load for that team. I like Norman Powell. I love their head coach, Ty Lue, but, they're just lacking top-end talent. Like, they're just lacking talent in general. But I still think with their culture they have with Ty Lue, they'll be able to scrap together, probably around 40 to 45 wins. But coming in number 16 for me, I got the Miami Heat. The Heat didn't really have too many options on the table this offseason. Maybe they end up getting the Lauri Markkanen sweepstakes there, but this is just a respect to Jimmy, Bam, and Eric Spoelstra and that overall Heat culture. They're obviously banking on them being healthy this upcoming year. Jovic taking that next step, and maybe they could be a whole lot higher in these power rankings as the season moves forward. But number 15 for me, I got the Sacramento Kings. I don't know how I feel about the DeMar DeRozan fit just yet. I think it's going to work out, but again, I don't really know until I see it on the court. You got some players that do, a lot of similar things, so I guess that's my biggest question mark with them. I think their front court is still very weak. You got Sabonis as your physical imposer. Like, I think these other teams in the Western Conference can be able to beat up on them, but the Kings, interesting team right now, just not really too sure where I wanted to put them, so I decided to land them at 15. But how about the Phoenix Suns here? Suns are interesting because you got Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Like, you got one of the best 1-2 combos in the entire NBA. You got Royce O'Neal, still had Bradley Beal, even though Beal's been in, a massive disappointment for that ball club. But the Phoenix Suns, they're still a team you do not want to play in the playoffs. I understand. They just got swept by the Timberwolves, but are you still, feeling fully confident in your ball club if you're going up against Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, for a 2-week series? Probably not. They definitely still need a point guard, though. Maybe Tyus Jones or something goes there on a super cheap deal, and maybe tries a ring chase there. Not too sure. But coming in at 13, Pelicans. This is a really, really tough one for me. Because obviously you have that huge cloud over Brandon Ingram, but overall I like their moves. If you have, the core of Murray, McCollum, and Zion, I think that's a great core. I love Herb Jones. I love Trey Murphy. They still need a true center. They got Daniel Tice. They got Yves Missi in the draft. So Pelicans are an interesting one. Very similar. All three of those teams you see on screen right now, you could flip them around in any order you would like. But number 12 for me, I got the Indiana Pacers. Maybe this is a little high, but I just giving them the respect that they just made the Eastern Conference Finals. They're all going to get, one more year of experience. Like, they have a really young core. I love their offense with Rick Carlisle, but, I don't know. I just think the Pacers, I think they have a really high floor, but not as high of a ceiling as most people think. Now, this is a team I love heading the next year. And a lot of this is banking on Ja Morant Ja Morant getting back to, being Ja Morant. And I think he will. But if their closing lineup is Ja, Bane, Jaren Jackson, Marcus Smart, and Brandon Clark, you got one of the best defensive lineups in the NBA. You got one of the most athletic lineups. And then you add in that Edey piece where you could just go huge with him and Jaren Jackson at that 4-5. You could be a really physically imposing team. And guys, remember, this is a Grizzlies team that was second in the Western Conference only a couple years ago. So I'm a big fan of the Grizzlies, maybe higher on them than most people. But you guys let me know. Are you a believer in the Memphis Grizzlies? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down in the comments section. Really, really curious to see what you guys have to say. Now, this is a team I'm also higher on than most people. I got the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think it was absolutely massive for them to re-sign Donovan Mitchell this summer. This is mostly me banking on, Mobley taking that next step, Jarrett Allen, just that core of Cleveland that's been together for the last couple of years. Hopefully continuity, is a big driving force on why they're successful. But I love Darius Garland. Obviously D. Mitch is who he is. He's a very electric player. Hopefully Evan Mobley takes that next step, and then they're maybe a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference. So I got the Cavs slated in there at 10th in our power rankings. But what about the Milwaukee Bucks? Very, very, very quiet offseason. Pretty funny that Darvin Ham, becomes an assistant coach for the Bucks. Then his first move, he brings back in Taurean Prince. I'm sure Lakers fans got a giggle out of that. But I got them at 9. Just respect for Giannis, Dame. Got some of the best top-end talent in the league. And also, I think Giannis is an undisputed top 3 player in the world. But this is a team I really like, the Orlando Magic. And I got them at 8 here. I love the pickup of KCP. Going to be one of the best players in the league to help you get better on the margins. And a lot of this is me banking on, Banchero taking that step. I think we saw it in the postseason last year. Like, he was fantastic. He was going toe-to-toe with Donovan Mitchell at the age of 21 years old. Also love Franz Wagner. I think he's going to take a huge step this upcoming year. Maybe it's too high for the Magic, but I just really like their closing 5, man. Of Bitadze, Banchero, Wagner, KCP, and Jalen Suggs. You got one of the best defensive teams in the league. Think about this. The Magic were one of the best defenses in the NBA last season, and they added KCP. That's only going to make them better, so I got them at 8. Coming in at 7 here, crazy how we have the Denver Nuggets. It's so funny how this time last season we were saying there is no way the Denver Nuggets don't repeat. Just the parody world we live in the NBA right now. So I got them at 7. Aaron Gordon, I'm sure they're looking back on that contract and probably wishing they didn't give them, as much money as they did. But you still got Jokic, my opinion, best player in the world. And, they did pay Jamal Murray this summer. But number 6 for me, closing in on that top 5. I got the Minnesota Timberwolves. Maybe I have them too low, as this was a Western Conference final team that, just ran into the Mavs, who just were a bad matchup for them, frankly. And, Anthony Edwards, he was only 22 last year. He's going to take that next step. I love the draft pick of Rob Dillingham, but I will say this, guys. There is a solid 7 teams in the NBA. I think there is a huge gap between the Denver Nuggets and Orlando Magic. I think we have a true solid 7 contenders right now in the league. So I got the Timberwolves at number 6. Let's kick it to number 5 here. The Philadelphia 76ers. I'm sure some people are going to say this is way too low. Some people are going to probably say they should be number 2, and I understand that. They got some of the best top-end talent in the world right now. But you got red flags. You got question marks. You got the injuries. You got the playoff, lapses from Paul George and Joel Embiid. I just think, is there a scenario they win it all next season? 100%. But is it more likely than the other 4 teams I have ahead of them? I'm going to say probably not. But number 4 for me, I got the Dallas Mavericks. I think they had a tremendous offseason, man. Like, really did. I think the best thing that happened to the Mavs heading into the season was actually Luka kind of getting embarrassed defensively in the NBA Finals. That's going to be his biggest motivator to get, in elite shape this offseason. I love the fit of Klay Thompson. He's going to be spoon-fed wide open threes, all season from Luka. Obviously, the defensive, backcourt is a huge question mark for them, especially if they have to go up, against the Oklahoma City Thunder there. But I think the Mavs, I think they're a tremendous ball club, and they're just going to continue on, building a great team around Luka Doncic. But number 3 for me, I do have the New York Knicks. Continuity matters, and they clearly they have an identity of that rough and rugged style of basketball. I love the pickup of Bridges. It's going to be a seamless fit, and they could run a massive team around a small guard, which I love the most. Like Brunson, obviously smaller NBA player. He's only 6 foot, but if you're able to put around Bridges, OG, Randall, Mitchell Robinson, that's an elite closing team. You're elite defensively. You have elite play finishers in OG and Bridges. And then you got 2 dudes that can, just create mismatches in Brunson and Julius Randle. I think the Knicks are honestly getting slept on a little bit here, as I really am, believing in them, being the second best team in the Eastern Conference. But at number 2, I wanted to put them at number 1 so bad, but I'm going to pay respects to who I do have at number 1, and that is the Boston Celtics. I loved what the Thunder have done this offseason. Why did they lose to the Mavs? They couldn't hit the glass. They couldn't rebound as well. Well, they added Isaiah Hartenstein. Having that physicality next to Chet Holmgren, I think is going to be fantastic. And I just think the Thunder, I think they're a wagon in place. I wouldn't be shocked if they end up winning, 60, 65 games this upcoming season. And plus, what's the biggest reason why they're going to improve? Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, heading into year 3s of their NBA career, they're going to take that next step. But I had to give it to the Boston Celtics, man. I think they're the number 1 team in the league. Great 5, best 5-man unit in the entire league. And, once postseason time comes around, it's really just having, the best 5 out there. So I got the Boston Celtics at number 1. But you guys let me know, who's the best team in the NBA? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. Curious to see what you guys have to say. And as always, guys, make sure you guys are subscribed here to Chat Sports on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. And, hey, if you guys hated my power rankings, kill me in the comment section. But if you guys enjoyed them, let me know that as well. But we see you guys next time on another edition of NBA Now by Chat Sports. Alrighty, you guys let me know. Saw you guys killing me in the chat. I saw you guys killing me in the chat for having the T-Wolves too low. Hey, everybody's got an opinion on it. That's why I love the NBA. We can chop it up. We can disagree. That's why I always prefer talking about hoops in comparison to the NFL, because I feel like the NBA is more just barbershop. It's more just guys chopping it up. I was actually telling this to Tex before we hopped on here. I was saying, I wish we had, a tiers list instead of, a power ranking, because realistically, you could switch up, Minnesota and New York at 3 and 6, and I wouldn't be upset about it. You could switch, even, who'd I have at 4 there? You could switch up the Mavs and the Thunder at 4 and 6, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. So, where did you put the Warriors? I put the Warriors at 21. I do think, obviously, if the Warriors do end up getting Markkanen, they're going to fly up these rankings. But they lost Klay Thompson. Draymond is nowhere near of the player he once was. Steph Curry, he's my favorite player I've ever watched in the NBA. But, we just have to look at the numbers. He had a down second half of the year. Obviously, injuries played a big part in that. But, I just think the Warriors, they got to make a move right here. They got to put a better team around Steph. And, results will obviously, be better for them next season. Tom saying Sacramento. I had Sacramento at 15. Tough team to evaluate right now, just because the fit of DeMar DeRozan, I can't see it. I'm going to need to see it before I have, some sort of take on how far I think they could go. Murray Hill saying, why is Embiid still wearing a brace? Is he wearing that forever now? He could be. I don't really have an answer for you on that. Dallas magical season was fool's gold. PJ Washington lively. All right, James. Hey, that's a hot take. I think the Mavs got a whole lot better. I think they have a top 3 player in the world. No doubt about it. But Ryan Mott's holding it down. I know Ryan did not like me having Boston at 1. Dylan Rodriguez, not a fan of the Knicks being top 3. Hey, I hear you. Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got an opinion. But we are going to have a mailbag coming up here. So if you guys could hashtag NBA or super chat in the chat. Nobody is repeating shifts. Ryan, I was this close of putting the Oklahoma City Thunder at number 1. I was so close, but I got to give my respects to the defending champs. But, I wanted to, Ryan. I really did. But we are going to have a mailbag coming up. So any questions you guys have, hashtag NBA, or if you guys want to skip the line and get your question up on screen ASAP, send in a super chat, and, we will break it down. Honestly, I loved having you guys chop it up with me during that segment. Like, everybody's got an opinion. I'm not saying I know more than any, the next common guy. Like, nobody should think that. I just, I don't know. That's just where I stand on my power rankings as it is right now. Willie's saying Knicks should trade Randall for an all-star center. That is a big question mark about the Knicks. I wonder how that Randall piece fits. But we saw it last year when Randall and OG were with each other. Obviously, adding Bridges into that fold, adds another dynamic. But, hey, I think it's going to work out. I think the Knicks are going to be a hell of a basketball team next season. That's why I got them at number 3 in my power rankings. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, definitely get some from the chat. Honestly, I'd prioritize some in the chat over the plants. Yeah. Let's get them up on screen. James saying, OKC, I will give you. Dallas, nah. Too many dribble the air out of the ball guys. I hear you, but that's just their style of play. I don't think there's a right or wrong style of play. The Mavericks, what were we saying about them after the Timberwolves series? We're this is the best offensive backcourt we have ever seen. It was just Luka and Kyrie toying with them. And I do think Luka and Kyrie have this effect where they make other NBA superstars feel insecure on the basketball court. They see how just naturally talented they are, and I think they start thinking about their own selves I can't do that. I can't do what Kyrie's doing. Obviously, that didn't work out against Boston, but, Boston is a powerhouse. They got the best 5-man unit in the league. Yeah, also, Boston was one of the best defensive teams. They could guard Luka and Kyrie better than anybody. Great wing, great guard defenders. That's where I'll be curious. I want to see Boston run up against Philly in the second round, hopefully. I just want to see how they deal with Embiid. And that's why I'm not calling Boston's run a fluke. They earned it 100%. But they had a cakewalk to the finals. If they would have ran up against Embiid, I think also right now in the NBA, we got to understand – it is so matchup dependent once we get in these playoff series. The Timberwolves, terrible matchup for the Nuggets. Then what were the Mavs? A terrible matchup for the Timberwolves. Then what were the Celtics? A terrible matchup for the Mavs. That's why I was when I called the Celtics run a fluke to the finals, it kind of was because they were never tested. No team tested them. If they would have ran up against Philly in round 1, I think that would have caused them issues because what were you doing with Embiid, especially if Porzingis hurt? Willie's saying, I'll give them their flowers, screw it, they won. But it was, I'm with you, Willie. I'm with you. After the Celtics won, does that mean they have a big 3? No, I just think they got a stacked team. They just got a really good 5-man unit, man. No, they earned it. I hear you. They earned it. I'm not trying to take anything away, but yeah, it was a brutal finals to watch as a Bulls fan. Alrighty, but we're gonna dive into the mailbag. Hashtag NBA. If you guys want to get your question up there right as we're doing this cut, super chat to get up on the show. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in the NBA now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we actually answer questions from you guys as a part of our weekly live shows here at Chat Sports. It's my favorite part of the job. Just get to chop it up with you guys and talk some hoops. But if you guys want more NBA videos, as I'm an NBA guy over an NFL guy, I've always have been. I need you guys to like today's show. I put the goal as 300 likes. I would really appreciate it if you guys blew that out of the water. So hit that like button and help us get more NBA videos out to all the real hoop heads out there. But question number 1 coming in from Clevin Ying saying, what do you think Clay's stat line would be? Great question. I love this. Little projections here. So Klay Thompson. I think he's going to have one of his best shooting years of his career. I'm going to say Klay is a 42% three-point shooter. I just think with the open looks he's going to get from Luka and Kyrie, it's going to be some of his cleanest looks, dating back to, playing with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry on those teams. Stat line, I'm going to say Klay. I bet you the points per game is down, just naturally playing with, that top-end talent there. I'll go 16 points a game, 4 boards, shoots 49% from the field, and 42% from downtown. Richard Lococo, NASCAR fan, 24, saying, what team will trade for Zach? Assuming you're talking about Zach LaVine here. I'm going to go the Lakers. I think they're going to be desperate, and I think they've heard all the noise about, them having a poor offseason. They could ship off, D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, max contracts, and we did get a report that the Bulls are willing they're willing to throw in 2 second-round picks and maybe even a first-round pick to move off LaVine's contract. I think the Lakers should do it. Why not? Like LeBron James, Father Time is eventually going to tap that shoulder of his. So, yeah, I think if I had to pick a team, I would say the Lakers for Zach LaVine. Next question coming in from Willie, saying, do you believe Edey will start immediately for Memphis? Really excited to see them make a comeback to the top of the West. So, yeah, Willie, I'm a big fan of the Memphis Grizzlies. I love their 5-man unit. That actually doesn't include Zach Edey of just Smart, Ja, Bane, Jackson, and Brandon Clark. I think that's an elite 5. But biggest question mark around the Grizzlies is Ja Morant going to be Ja Morant? And I think the answer to that is 100%. But do you believe Edey will start immediately for Memphis? I don't. I think they're going to have him kind of be like just a Swiss Army knife type of player, like where it's like, we just throw him in a random lineup for 15 minutes. It's like, oh, wow, you got one of the biggest, most physical lineups in the NBA of Jackson and Edey. But I think he's going to also have a very effective and productive 15 minutes. But maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe Edey ends up being a starter and he ends up playing 25, 30 minutes a night. It's okay to laugh coming in saying, realistic options to fill out the 76ers roster: Lowry, Morris, Kenrich Williams. If I had to pick one there, I'd probably go Kyle Lowry. Obviously, being from Philadelphia, went to Villanova. He was with them this past season. I'd probably go Kyle Lowry on that. I also just think, when you are a championship contending team, it always helps to have guys who have been there and done that. Kyle Lowry was great for the Raptors when they won the title a couple years ago. So if I had to pick one out of those 3, I would definitely go Kyle Lowry. But I want you guys to get down in the comment section. Let me know, who is your favorite NBA team? I was raised in Chicago. Mine's the Chicago Bulls. But you guys let me know, who is your favorite NBA team? Jay Marin saying, will the Pacers make it to the Eastern Conference Finals next year? I'm going to say no. I'm pretty confident on that. Like, I think the Pacers right now are the 6th best team in the East. They got some injury luck, to go their way with the Knicks. Obviously Brunson got hurt, no Randall. Like, they were just really banged up in that second round series. And obviously against the Milwaukee Bucks, like, would they even won a playoff series if Giannis and Dame, weren't both hurt? So if I had to power rank the East, like, you got the Celtics, Sixers, Knicks, probably got the Magic, even the Cavaliers and Bucks maybe ahead of them. I mean, maybe the Pacers are the 7th best team in the Eastern Conference, but if I had to call it right now, I would probably say no on that. EV saying, would you be okay to bring back Denzel Valentine to Chicago? EV, I'm assuming this is a troll job by you, and I want to shake your hand. That is fantastic. One of my favorite clips of Denzel Valentine is it was during the COVID year for the NBA, and he pulls up from 3 from like 35 feet with 35 seconds left, and Bulls play-by-play announcer Stacey King is just like, what is he doing? Like, it's one of the most hilarious calls in NBA history if you haven't seen it. But EV, appreciate the troll job right there. But the answer is hell no on me bringing Denzel back to Chicago. Brandon Brown saying, which NBA team has had the best offseason so far? For me, it's Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they improved the most. I thought the Giddey for Caruso trade was just fantastic. Giddey didn't really fit in, and Caruso fits in with any offense. And then, why did the Mavericks lose to the Oklahoma City, or why did the Thunder lose to the Dallas Mavericks? They got killed on the glass. They also had a couple, mishaps late in those games, but you brought in Hartenstein, add some physicality. next to, Chet Holmgren. And, you got to bank on SGA, Jalen Williams, and Chet just getting even better, another year playing with each other. So I got to go, the Oklahoma City Thunder, as they would be my pick to win the title as it stands right now. But EV coming in saying Luka Doncic, MVP candidate next season. Yeah, if I had to pick, I'll do this. Do a little game with you guys. I'll go my 5 players that I think are most likely to win MVP next season. I think number 1, I think it's got to be Luka. He's going to be on a tear this upcoming season. Plus, I think it helps with him just being in the finals. I'll go Luka 1. I'm going to go Anthony Edwards 2. I could see him having a big-time year. I actually do think Tatum's up there. Because let's just say the Celtics rip off, again, 55, 60, 65 wins, and he has a great, statistical season. I could see him up there as well. If I had to pick a dark horse, though, you guys are going to think this is crazy. Maybe this is a little too nuts. Keep your eyes out on Ja Morant. Also, SGA. I got to mention SGA. SGA would be up there as well. No doubt about it. Yeah. Honestly, I'd probably go Luka 1, SGA 2, Ant 3, Tatum 4. And then you got Giannis and, Jokic, but they have already won a couple. So, I'll throw a wild card out there. I'll go Ja Morant there as well. The Ruiz family coming in saying, who do you think the Lakers would trade for Brook Lopez? The Bucks apparently was reported they want a first-round pick for Lopez. I like the fit for Los Angeles. Obviously, I think Anthony Davis is a better player at the 4 compared to him playing the 5. So, I like that fit there for the Lake Show. I don't know what they would be able to give up for him. Maybe it's just like Jackson Hayes, just get some salary filler and you just attach some future draft capital for that one. But guys, make sure you guys are subscribed here to Chat Sports. If you guys just want more NBA content in your life, we will keep you posted on everything around the NBA. So hit that subscribe button, lock us in. Would really, really appreciate it. EV saying hashtag NBA Chicago Bulls trade Nikola Vucevic and Lonzo for RJ Barrett and a second-round pick. Yeah, I would love this if I were the Bulls. I don't know why maybe the Raptors do this. I don't know. This is a blockbuster coming from you, EV. I would love this if I were the Bulls. Not sure the Raptors are even remotely interested, in that deal. But Cole So Sporty coming in with the next question saying, will the Pelicans trade Brandon Ingram before the regular season? And if so, what center could they go for? Maybe it's a team like the Portland Trailblazers with DeAndre Ayton, and maybe they just get Brandon Ingram, then they try to move Ingram at the trade deadline. Trying to think of another team with a center. I would throw out the Bulls as they were reported to possibly wanting to move off Vooch. But yeah, I don't know. I think the Pelicans are in a weird spot right now. I don't think there is a Brandon Ingram for center trade out there as it stands, right now. Super chat coming in from Cameron Doris. Appreciate you, Cameron, saying, do you think Modest Buzelis will be first team all rookie? 100%, Cameron. 100%. Yeah, I am a Bulls fan. Just throwing that out there. But I was a huge fan of this draft pick. I think the thing with Modest that it's going to come down to is, will we get the opportunity? Let's just say the Bulls don't end up trading LaVine, and, he's going to be pretty buried in that rotation because you got Giddey, Kobe, Ayo, obviously LaVine, Patrick Williams, Nikola Vucevic. He might get buried in that rotation, but let's just say they do move off Vuce and LaVine. I could see Modest averaging a solid 11 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, pretty efficient as well. But yeah, I think he no doubt will be first team all rookie this upcoming year. Last question coming in from Carter saying, any more moves for Orlando? Probably not. They re-signed a bunch of their guys. Obviously, they gave Franz Wagner the, rookie max. They brought back KCP, or they brought in KCP, brought back Mo Wagner, and also Goga Batate. So I think the Magic are done, but overall, I've loved their offseason. A ton of good moves on that front. So, do want to give Orlando credit there. But if you guys enjoyed today's show and enjoyed watching the whole thing on today's mailbag, please drop a like. We would really appreciate it. And plus, it just helps us get this video out to more and more NBA fans. But we'll see you guys next time on another edition of NBA Now. Alrighty. Let me know who is your favorite NBA team. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. Ryan, appreciate you. Saw Joey DeLuca in the chat as well. all of you guys. If you guys do want to give me a follow on Twitter, that is my handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Donta saying the Atlanta Hawks. Yeah, shout out to the Atlanta Hawks. Interesting offseason for them. But really do appreciate everybody tuning in. Had over 4,000 people join us today. Peaked at around 450 people watching live. So really do want to give a shout out to all of you guys. Buddy Bear, Carl in the chat. What's up, Carl? Saying the Knicks as well. Yeah, appreciate all of you guys. Oh, Carl, you guys will see the Power Rankings video coming out on the channel. I had the Knicks as the third best team in the NBA. As it stands right now, I went Celtics 1 out of respect, Thunder 2, Knicks 3, Mavericks 4, Sixers 5, Timberwolves 6, Denver Nuggets 7, and then I had the Magic at 8. People gave me a hard time about that one, but I think they're going to be good. And then the Bucks at 9. But I think that's the 9 teams I could see. Actually, probably the top 7 are the only 7 I could see winning the championship this upcoming year. But, yeah, just thank you guys so much for watching today's show. Shout out to producer Tex, killing it on the 1s and 2s. And, yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Really do appreciate everybody tuning in. And, yeah, shout out to all the NBA fans out there.